It's time now for our Entre Nous segment, and today we're talking about France's baby bust, or the drop in the nation's birth rate. For more on this, we can speak with Solange Boutin. Good to have you with us, Solange. It's kicked off, or 2026, with much focus on France's natality rate.
Yeah, it has, and for a number of reasons. It's created a lot of pushback as well, and questioning about if France is actually addressing this in the right way, which I will get to in a second. But first, the why now and what is happening. In early January, l'INSEE published the latest demography figures, showing that in 2025 there was a 24% drop in France's birth rate. This is compared to 15 years prior. That there were 645,000 births last year. There were more deaths than births in France, and that France's fertility rate was at 1.56 children per woman. This is the lowest since World War I, and far below the 2.1 level that is needed to maintain a stable population. So that was the January alarm bell, and it's been one that has more or less been rung since 2011 when a decline began, one that has steadily broken away at this image of France as an outlier, or la bonne élève, the good model student, compared to other nations which are also facing this issue. In France, the reason why people are deciding not to have another child or not to have a child at all vary and are vast, from housing costs to job insecurity to lack of childcare to climate change to political unrest to gender inequality.
Housing is a challenge. We have a 3-room apartment and we manage with 2 bedrooms and a living room, but we'd like it to be bigger.
With climate change, what's the point of having kids?
We're thinking about the world the kids are going to grow up in, and it makes you wonder.
It was one of the things we weighed. The social climate, economic uncertainty.
Yes, and the climate too.
Well, Solange, in the meantime, a range of proposals, if you will, are coming out to try to kind of boost this birth rate.
Yeah, in early February, Emmanuel Macron finally laid out a 16-point plan to combat infertility in France. This comes after his 2024 plea for there to be a réarmement démographique, or a demographic rearmament of France. And when he said that, Macron's word choice was met with much outrage from women and men as well, who were saying, stay out of our bedrooms and individual choices. Many felt that this term was retrograde, that it was reminiscent of Pétain's World War II pleas for travail, famille, patrie, or for women to leave the workforce and to have more babies. So the term réarmement démographique is not being repeated anymore by Macron or his party. But one of his current main proposals is also nonetheless facing continued criticism, which is to send all 29-year-old women a letter about infertility so that they can get a paid fertility checkup. It's expected to be sent out this summer, and it's meant to inform women of the options that exist, such as freezing your eggs, which the government wants to boost, and also the fact that fertility rates decrease with age. Critics of this letter say that it puts even more of an onus on women, when infertility is also something that affects men. Also, there's much debate about whether infertility is actually a piece of this puzzle at all, or a real cause of the dropping birth rate. That is debatable. Now, that isn't the only plan that is coming out, as this issue is likely to be part of the next presidential campaign. A parliamentary report was also just released in February, in which 37 proposals were made, such as a monthly €250 benefit for all, starting with the first child. 0% loan for housing was also part of the proposals, as was boosting parental leave time and creating a ministry dedicated just to this issue, as well as a Marshall Plan for childcare. But such costly incentives to have more kids, they have largely not worked in other nations, such as Hungary, Italy, Spain, Portugal. So they may not work long time here as either.
They invested a lot of money, a lot of means, and there's absolutely no significant increases in the number of births. We don't have kids to please political leaders, and we don't have kids because you're given money to do so.
She's told us about a whole range of proposals. What are the kind of long-term solutions, if you will?
Well, politicians are still trying to figure this out, and they are fighting over it. There is a big right and left divide on this, particularly concerning the far right. There's also a rift between genders, one that is growing, for some at least. But some economists say that there is a very simple medium-term fix, which is actually to boost immigration. But that is also a highly volatile issue politically. Others say that this drop actually isn't a problem at all, that it will help the planet, ease France's housing shortage and education spending. Others argue for a complete reworking of our societal model, where the money for the elderly and the very young come mainly from workers. They argue that retirees need to work longer. There are lots of possibilities to shift this or to accept it. But it is certain that there is no one easy fix. And it is also quite clear that parenthood and family and the views of them are changing. The choice of no children is more common. It's not taboo anymore. Women are more aware of the possible professional toll that having children can have, as well as the extra work at home. But that does not mean people do not want kids anymore. In France, there is still a gap here. Polls show that the number of kids that people end up having is actually below the number of kids that they say they want to have. So politicians are trying to work on that. But again, these are decisions that people want to make for themselves in the society where it is possible and a joy to have children.
A joy, indeed. I'll join you on that, Solange. Fascinating stuff, this debate about France's natality rate. Thank you very much for our Entre Nous segment.